Hello everybody. Um, Today I'm gonna be doing a bit of a channel update. I hope you all had a great holidays, and as I did, I took a big risk and it turned out very well. So today I am going to do a channel update on what's been happening and why I haven't been uploading recently. See, I've I don't have the best of a computer, and I've been planning to upgrade it for a while now. And I got but most of the basic upgrading components, like I got the CPU cooler, thermal compound, and the motherboard. And then I used the RAM and all the other things from my other case, or not my other case, but it's the same case. I just replaced the old parts and used what was still there. And I'm gonna tell you what all happened through all this. So, people say that you shouldn't replace your motherboard, and I would greatly agree with that because it can be risky depending on what Windows you have, what current drivers you have, what type of motherboard you have, what current motherboard you are using, and if the motherboard you're switching to is similar enough to the one that you are replacing to. And I thought I was gonna have to reinstall Windows. To be honest, these motherboards are completely different. I went from a MSI and AMD rig to a Asus and Intel rig. And I honestly thought I was gonna have to reinstall Windows. People were telling me that I most likely have to reinstall Windows, and how I got most of this information is through Tom's Hardware. Thanks, because I got quite a bit of help from there. So thanks to Tradesman, I think his name was. I don't know. So what all happened when I did this is he told me Windows 7 is usually good with this, and I had Windows 7. Well, I still do have Windows 7, and I love Windows 7. I think Windows 7 is the prime of Windows, even though Windows XP was like revolutionary. He said to make sure Windows is fully up to date, and that I've backed up all my files. See, I backed up all my files on a 1 terabyte Seagate Backup Plus external USB hard drive. I backed up almost all my files except my my Windows stuff, and just my most important things. And he told me that I would have to obviously reactivate Windows, which wasn't too hard. And I'll be telling you how to do that. Then he said, and you have backups of all your data files, then give it a try. Win will try to load the default drivers of all the new hardware. If it gets through to the desktop, which it did, but there's a bit I'll tell you about that later. If it gets through to the desktop, then load all the latest drivers from the motherboard's website, that he calls Motherboard Mobo for short. And then run a registry cleaner, which I did. I used Wise, like he recommended. See, I have Wise on my... I have Wise there on my desktop, so he recommended I use Wise. I used Wise. It was perfectly fine. Nothing wrong happened. And then I just had to reactivate Windows. Yeah. So we just went on and on. I kept asking questions and stuff, and he just kept answering them. He was really nice. But what mainly happened when I switched to motherboard, like I switched from an MSI, I don't even want to read the name, the MSI, it was something, the FX series. It had a really long and confusing name. I'm not even going to try to read it. to the Asus Z97 Pro Gamer. And what sort of annoys me is that it's now in stock on Newegg, or at least it was yesterday. Yeah, it is. I'm guessing because they tried to stockpile it for Christmas and everything like that. But I had to get it off some Japanese people on Amazon. See, Amazon has them for like 200. I got mine for 230 because when I bought mine, like it had expected dates of like December 25th through just like about a month later. It was expected to come. Like, look at this. Like, it's December 26th right now. It's expected to go through January 26th through September 16th. That's 1 to 2 months from now. Like, are you kidding me? So I ordered mine in like November, and when it arrived, I was happy. It came with a Japanese manual, which was surprisingly helpful because of the pictures. And like I didn't even be able to read the text to know what it's saying because the names and stuff were in English as well. And also, what happened is I replaced the hardware. So I replaced my AMD. I think it was 4300 FX. Yeah, my 4300 FX, 3.8 boost clock 4.0, and with a Intel i7 4790K, and it went almost flawlessly. And for CPU cooler, in case you all were wondering, I went with the Noctua NHD 15 because come on, it's the Noctua NHD 15. You have to. And that takes up like 80% of my case. It's ridiculous. It's huge, I'll tell you that. But after I replaced all the hardware, I knew that this was gonna be the hard part, because like I've read people like getting hard drive errors, motherboard errors, but what strangely happens, which I haven't seen anybody actually have this happen to them, is I pressed the power button. I had everything plugged in, like all my USB devices and everything. It turned on, turned off, turned on, turned off, then turned on again without me doing anything. I just pressed the power button once, and then it stayed on and started to like go through the motherboard's loading screen. But then it said, with the America Megatrends on it at the top, it said CPU fan error. And the reason I had this happen is because I figured this, because even in the manual of the motherboard, it says that a CHA fan will work as a CPU fan. It says those exact words. I even like translated it. That took me so long. But here, let's go back to the motherboard. The Asus Z97 Pro Gamer. Like at the bottom, since the NHD 15 is so huge, it came down to about this part, about the first PCI Express slot. It came from, and it almost went up to the top of the RAM sticks, or RAM slots. So it's a huge cooler, and I even had to move my graphics card down, which is a 630 GT, which I will be replacing, so I can even do more recording. And so the cords were decently long, so I had to plug them into the tiny 4-pin slot in the bottom middle, and it's labeled as a CHA fan. And or no, I didn't plug it in down there. I plugged it into the thing above, the 4-pin above the 24-pin ATX power connector. I plugged it in above that. Right there, but that's also labeled CHA fan. It said CPU fan error, and I went to the BIOS, and it was not recognizing it as a CPU fan. As expected, I had to switch it from down above the power connector to the 4-pin connector above the far left RAM slot. So, which was like covered, but like almost completely covered by the CPU cooler. So it was like really hard to manage my hand and get it in there, but I eventually did. Afterwards, it booted into Windows. Like, it loaded up. I tried to power. It loaded into Windows at a really, really stretched resolution, like really small. I mean, my friend had warned me about this when I was. He said I'd be on a really stretched resolution for a while. And what it did was it installed a bunch of drivers. It wouldn't let me check which drivers because my mouse drivers weren't installed yet. So that's fun. And what happened is so it just forced me to restart. So I had to press enter on my keyboard. By the way, I have a Razer, which I got yesterday, a Razer Black Widow Chroma Stealth. Really loving it right now with that wave effect. So it forced me to restart. I used the arrow keys and enter key to maneuver the options, and I pressed restart now. And it restarted in my normal 1080p resolution. And it seemed to turn perfectly fine. It started installing my mouse drivers. But one thing that happened was that my LAN drivers were conflicting with my old motherboard. Like, the new ones were conflicting with the old ones. So what I did was I got a flash drive, went over to my my brother's computer, and I downloaded the LAN drivers from the Asus's website. I downloaded the LAN driver installer off of there, and I downloaded the registry cleaner onto the flash drive. I plugged it into here. It took a few times to recognize it as a removable disk, or not a removable, but a flash drive, and because of the USB drivers conflicting as well. So I installed the LAN drivers and ran the registry cleaner and then restarted my computer. Once it restarted, everything was fine. I had internet now, and I went to download the other drivers, and then I knew I had to reactivate Windows. I had already established this, so I was figuring out how to open the activation sensor, and I figured out that what I needed to do was you need to go into your start menu, type in activate, and it will say Windows, or activate Windows, and then press activate Windows Online now. If it can't do an auto activation, it will give you, say, I forget the whole thing, but you'll end up at a screen with a phone number, or yeah, you have to say like try phone, like show me other options, then try phone activation, and then it will ask for your country. For me, the United States, and it will say call this number, which is a robot that says it's online 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it will ask for a code that you have on that screen, and then once it receives that, the installation ID, it will ask for it will give you a confirmation ID, and once you're done with that, you should write that down, to be honest, but and then press activate or next. If it says an error, it will ask you to do some other stuff, but for me it said it was successfully activated, so it worked, and my Windows got reactivated, and I just installed a few other drivers. I did not need to reinstall any other of my software. Everything seems to be running fine. I got Steam, Christmas sale, everything is running fine. And I've been testing through OBS my recordings. I've been testing my audio with my new keyboard, so you can't hear these clicks. This is a quite quiet but loud keyboard. I don't know. It's in there as a louder keyboard, as it is mechanical. But I have been testing the sound and audio and video and everything, but I noticed I could record most surf maps at a solid 60 frames while holding 60 frames on my end. So I might be able to do some more surf videos. Expect those. I don't know about any like Rocket League with Shane or anything. If you don't know who Shane is, it's Skitty Gaming. I'll leave a link to his channel. He uploads more frequently than I do. So that's about it. It's just a channel update. And maybe in February I'll be getting a new video card, unless Nvidia releases the 1080, but before then, because there's rumors that the 1080 is gonna be released soon or whatever. So hopefully I'll be on the board for that, and hopefully I'll be able to make more videos. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. So making new videos soon. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos, and get updated when I upload videos of me possibly playing with people, doing surf tutorials, and everything like that. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.